Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the final whistle, where we give you everything. A great recap of Alabama football, X's and O's, and hard-hitting facts where we knock people out. Shouts out to Dallas Turner in the building. This is the All-Star panel. This is where we give you everything. Hit that like and subscribe button. Yes, we're always on at the one and only The Bama Standard. And, you know, I got a rowdy bunch of guys with me, starting with co-host Mr. Chris James. How are you doing over there?
You know what I'm saying? I don't have to hear the occasion miss. Because, boy, they were at my neck. Smoot can tell you. They've been at my neck, and I don't have to hear that. Man, hey, that's all I can say, dog. I'm ready for the cats now. I'm ready for the cats.
We just beat some cats. We're about to beat some more cats. And that's not the name of my promo code this week. Ladies and gentlemen, below Chris James, Coach Smoot, how you doing, brother?
Over here, you know, celebrating, man. This is LSU game is when fans talk about it to Wednesday, I don't mind. You know, this is one where I'm just salivating on the kitty. You know what I'm saying? I'm just salivating on it, and it feels good, man. It tastes good, feels good. I mean, I'm happy, man. Roll Tide.
You said salivating on the pick, right? With the P, right?
The kitty.
The kitty. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, next to Coach Smoot, Blazes Hayes' cousin, Ty Hayes, Around the Table Sports. How are you doing, sir?
Always good when we beat LSU. And now we get to talk about Kentucky. We get to talk about – I have a major issue with the college football playoff rankings that just came out. I got a big issue with that. But, yeah, very excited to be here.
We're going to come right back to that. Shone, final whistle analyst. How are you today, sir?
You know what? I'm doing good. You know, we get an opportunity to hunt cats in back-to-back weekends, and like Smook alluded to, we like kitties on this show. But as Ty alluded to, I also second that fact that I have a major issue with the college football rankings. I think that some of those people might be working in the Michigan scandal. I don't know, but their rankings are just that messed up.
Speaking of rankings, our top ranked analyst, lead recruiting analyst, the star of the show. I mean, if he's carrying the show, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Final Whistle Dan. He's the MVP. How are you doing today, Final Whistle Dan?
Always good, brother. Roll Tide, Bama Nation. You know,
Roll Tide.
Second week.
So everybody hit that like, subscribe button. So Ty Hayes, I'm gonna shift it to you. Let's kind of do a quick. I'm gonna throw a little curveball. Let's do a quick analysis about the college football rankings since they just came out hot off the press.
Yeah, so those rankings were atrocious. I don't know what that. Okay, I don't know what that was, but now that's out of here.
It was Connor Stallions.
That's Connor Stallions trying to spy on us.
Yeah.
Okay, we got that out of here. We're good. But let's talk about these rankings, right? Because I don't think that a lot of it was super, super surprising, aside from outside your top four. First off, personally, I think Washington should be one of the top four teams. They have a win over a team that the committee values in Oregon at number 6. Florida State's been a good team, but Washington has a great win. But gentlemen, how is Oregon above Texas or Alabama? Alabama and Texas should be over Oregon. Alabama has 4 ranked wins, or 3 ranked wins, I apologize, and all of them have been by double digits. And when I say ranked wins, I mean by the College Football Playoff Committee. Right? Is it 4? I thought it was 3. Let me check.
I thought it was 4 before. LSU, who was it? LSU, Ole Miss.
LSU, Ole Miss, and Tennessee are the ones that the College Football Playoff Committee has ranked. And all of them have been wins by double digits. How is Oregon above Alabama? Oregon's lone ranked win is Utah. And I get it. Utah is a good win. Kyle Whittingham is one of the better coaches in this nation that does not get his flowers, but year in, year out leads an elite unit. And Oregon's a good team, but they do not have a better resume than Alabama. And the committee pointed to the quality of their offense and defense, but what about the quality of what you've put on the field in terms of wins and losses? Isn't that what this is all about? Isn't that why we have a college football playoff committee, so that we don't rely on these intricacies such as where your offense ranks, where your defense ranks in terms of 1 to 131? Isn't that what the computer did before you? This confuses me at its core, guys, because Oregon is a good team. I have championed Oregon on my channel in terms of I think that they will go on and win the pack. They do not have a more impressive resume than Alabama, and it does not take rocket science to figure it out. Bama has 3 college football playoff ranked wins, 1 over a top 10 team by double digits. I don't know. Alabama can control their own destiny, beating Georgia, but I don't know how Oregon is above Alabama or Texas for that matter. Texas is one of the only other teams that has 3 ranked wins in the college football playoff committee rankings, and they beat Alabama. Both of those teams should be ahead of Oregon.
I like it. Anybody else? Lushan?
I mean, Chris got something.
No, go ahead. I'm after you, brother.
I mean, there's not much more I can really add to that. It's just the fact that the last couple of years that the College Football Playoff Committee wants to have this resume that they want to have to get to the College Football Playoff, and it just seems like this year they're kind of changing what they're going towards as far as the rankings go, because strength of schedule, like Ty alluded to, used to matter. Who you played used to matter. And it just seems like this year it's like they're actually being SEC biased when it comes to the rankings, because like when the original one came out, you put Ohio State over Georgia. I mean, that's not even being an SEC homer. Like, that just didn't make sense to me. But I mean, that's what I got. I mean, like, nothing makes sense, but we control our own destiny in this. If we win out, we're going to be in the playoffs, and we're that team that no one in this nation wants to see, because realistically, 4 quarters of Alabama football is going to be hell for any program in this nation. And I don't even wish you luck, because we going to.
Chris? Then we're going to go Smoke and then Dan.
I don't understand how the committee came up with these rankings, because number one, like Georgia, like they were impressive. They beat a good Missouri team. Ohio State kind of struggled against Rutgers for a little bit, but Missouri, man, they were 7-1 coming into that game, and one of the better offenses in the nation. Is Georgia just, controlled that game. They control the game, and plus they're on a 20-some. Is it a 20-some game winning streak they're on right now? And
26.
Yeah, and I mean,
26,
you got to give them boys. You got to give them boys their flowers, man. They deserve to be number one until somebody knocks them off. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a slap in the face for Ohio State to have, being kind of mediocre to start the year. I mean, not mediocre as far as college, but mediocre as far as Ohio State's expectations. Georgia's been kicking butt all year, but not only that, and then I think Washington should be ranked ahead of Florida State, because Florida State had those struggle wins against Boston College, and who else was it? Duke, until Duke's quarterback got hurt. Because the Boston College game could have easily been a loss. And like Oregon, they only beat one team with a winning record. Guess who the second best team that they've beaten? 4-5, Washington State. 4-5, Colorado. Come on, those are your second and third best wins. And Utah has what, 2 losses? That's your best win. So I don't get it. I mean, even like both Texas and Alabama should be over. Like we dug ourselves that grave by letting Texas come in and beat us. So we're going to be behind them until they drop another game. So we're kind of stuck behind Texas. But I expect like that Michigan, Ohio State, they're going to cancel each other out. We'll have our shot at Georgia, but the one thing that's crazy, I don't see how the committee could leave 12-1. Like if Bama is 12-1, SEC champion, then the only team to beat Georgia out of the playoff. Like that'll be like I don't think that'll slide. Like they'll have to find a way to put us in because I mean, I feel like we shouldn't be held hostage by that Texas loss because we're a completely different team in September than we are now. And still, if Texas was undefeated, that's one thing. But they lost to Oklahoma, who has 2 losses. You have to take that into consideration also. Now, I know head to head means something, but would you say if Texas were to come into Bryant Denny next week, would they win? No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I felt like we're nowhere near the same team we were week 2. So I just think it's crazy, man, where they have these rankings. It's all over the place, and I'm so glad they're going to a 12-team format next year because it looks like somebody's going to get hosed this year, and hopefully it's not us.
Coach Smook.
Well, all right. Yeah. So I know you all have stated the obvious as far as where we're placed and how the Oregon. I think the Oregon-Washington situation plays itself out for us. The way it's set up. One thing we can say, they've been consistent on how their criteria is and what they're looking for in their rankings. The first 2 weeks out the gate, which to us it doesn't make sense what their criteria is, but their criteria is consistent to keep Ohio State ahead of Georgia. That right there just blew my mind. And you all know on the panel know how much I just dislike the idea of Georgia staying dominant. You get what I'm saying? So, but for them to put Ohio State ahead of Georgia, that's when I was like, okay, at least they're being consistent. And then everything fell in place, stayed the same. Close games didn't matter. Blowouts didn't matter. And it was like, okay, that's their criteria. So in my eyes, I look at it as simple as this. You win, you in. Like that's the easiest way to get into the playoffs. Michigan, Ohio State has to play itself out. Oregon, Washington might have to play itself out again. And these are teams that have been prone to dropping, late season supposed to win games. But not banking on that. I think our main concern is just for Alabama to handle business. But yeah, to see that type of criteria, to be what they're weighing these initial rankings off of, it does put you kind of in question, like how the committee is selected at the end of the day. It makes you want to lean towards more so of getting former players, former coaches, athletic directors, things of that nature, people that understand the landscape of college football, or at least have an idea of how the landscape of college football is operated and what goes into scheduling, strength of schedule, weighing the like Texas winning and edging out with Malik Murphy. That should help our resume. That should have helped our resume. And like you said, Oregon doesn't have a top 10 win. I think right now, do they have a current top 15 ranked CFP win right now? I don't think so. So, and then Oklahoma losing, they're getting their second loss, kind of hurts Texas's resume. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of inconsistencies, but I like our chances of just winning and getting it. At the end of the day, you don't hold out a one-loss SEC champ. You just can't.
Dan, then I'll close it out.
Okay, well, guys, I'm gonna tell y'all this. The reality is, we don't control our destiny just yet. Because let's say everyone wins out. Let's say Florida State wins out. Let's say Washington wins out. Let's say Texas wins out. Ohio State or Michigan wins out. We are out. So the sad part about it, we hope we're still gonna need a little help. But what we got to do is control our part now, And the thing is, unfortunately for us, they're downplaying the SEC. You know what I'm saying? So we beat Georgia. All they're gonna do is do like they do the rest of our opponents. They're gonna devalue it. They're gonna say, "Well, Georgia didn't play anybody anyway." You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna need help. With the bias that we have going on toward the SEC, especially Bama, we're definitely gonna need help.
I agree. We're going to need help. And, I think just the committee, I don't know what's going on over there. They're contradicting themselves. They're saying this about the eye test. Then they're saying this resume. But they're being consistent, like Smook said, by being inconsistent. So they're just contradicting themselves. I believe it's going to work out. But I actually gonna take a different turn. I think this motivates the team even more so. I think that Lank mentality that Saban's gonna play this a real mental game, really with these guys and say these guys don't even respect you. Look at what you did in the season, and you really got to go out there and impose your will and dominate teams moving forward. So I think this is just gonna, motivate these guys to go out there and really be dominant, because they're keeping disrespecting Alabama. And, Coach Saban loves when he's disrespected, when, they're doubted and they have to prove a point. So I think, it reminds me of that Last Dance with Jordan. And he's like, yeah, and I took that personal. That's what it kind of reminds me of. So I believe the tide will ride. But speaking of riding, how do we feel about
what do you mean by that?
Don't ask, Ty. You know better.
Where do you want me to go? I mean,
don't ask.
Elaborate.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
Speaking of riding, we're riding high on that big victory versus the Bayou Bengals, and let's talk about it. Bama getting the big victory. Making the second half adjustments. Milroe, Daniels dueling out. I mean, it was just at Bryant Denny was electric. I want to get the panel started, and let's start with let's go Smook, then Chris, then Dan, Ty, Shone, and I'll round it out.
Okay. Starting it out, man. Tommy Reese, he gets my coordinator of the week award. I know the defense was able to make some second half adjustments, but that was a complete game by Tommy Reese and that offense. I mean, I think the only drive we didn't score was the first drive. But every opportunity we had the rest of the game, it's like it ended positively for Alabama, and his play calling, we saw the creativity, we saw the pre-snap motion in the run game. We saw pre-snap motion in the extended run game. We saw perimeter attacks. We saw over-the-top opportunities being placed. We saw Milroe learn from his early mistake when the offensive line literally kept him protected for 3.8 seconds before that guy got to him and sacked him on that first sack. And even on the second sack, man, it was just a matter of indecisiveness, which was not a theme for Jalen Milroe in this big game. So shouts out to Tommy Reese and that offense for really doing what we needed that offense to do, which was be the catalyst for this game. We knew the defense would need time to make adjustments and create stops. And when they did create stops, we didn't waste stops. So if I had to just give my final reaction on the game, man, my score prediction was pretty solid. I said we'll score 40. Somebody didn't think we could, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But yeah, we for real put up 40 on them boys, man. And yeah, we did what we were supposed to do against a beat up LSU defense. I'm glad we was able to do exactly what we need to do, what we were supposed to do, what we was expected to do. That's what people were worried about, which Alabama offense would show up, and the one that needed to show up showed up, and that's what I'm excited about.
Chris?
Yeah, man, I'm the resiliency. That's resiliency is one word that I can relate to this game, because man, that defense in the second half that stood out more than anything. And Milroe's legs, like, dude, man, people don't understand, man. When that guy is running, it's hard to beat. It's just it's crazy. And I'm not surprised by the emergence of this team, because as it's been said in the past, we have 3 of the top 6 ranked all-time highest ranked recruiting classes on campus right now.
3 of the top
6 all-time classes are on campus right now. So
on the field.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
That's insane.
That's on the field, bro. Like not just on campus, but on the field.
It's like 2003, Reggie Bush's class. I think that's when they really started the stars. And the thing is, people who like this panel, like we've been saying it all summer before the season. We knew it wasn't going to be if Bama was going to click. It was more of a matter of when they were going to click. And we're not surprised because we knew how much talent was on this team. The only thing that they were lacking were repetition. In-game reps, live bullets. When you get those, man, and you get those under your belt, and you start playing faster, start playing smarter. You can see how much the offensive line has improved from week one, from the Texas game to now. How much our receiver play has improved. How much the defensive line has improved. Secondary, man. Like, I know Malik Neighbors got his, but most of them came off of 2 plays, 2 long throws against Malachi, in which one of them he was in, he put it in a place that one of the best throws of the year. Wasn't nothing you can do about it. So, you could see the talent oozing on Saturdays. You just like, wow, here's another guy. Wow. So many wild plays. And but just what they did to Jaden Daniels, like, they just got tired of him running, and Dallas Turner just said, man, you know what? I'm about to end this. I'm about to end this. So
hey Chris.
Yeah.
Real talk. If you watch that play again, you could see that's the look he had in his eye, but he was pulling up, man. Like he literally hugged that man. He could have really killed that man for real. Like, if he wanted to, and that's what I think everybody needs to realize, man. Like, it could have been worse. It could have been
but Brian Kelly shouldn't have put him back in there. I'm like, if you're really talking about player safety, why are you gonna put him back in there? Word on the street, his mom had to come down there and tell him not to go back in the game.
This is what happened. The team said, well, coach, we're gonna have to put him in concussion protocol. He said, the hell with that, get your ass back out there. That's what happened.
Hey, he stood up behind the trainer. The trainer asked, how many fingers are holding up? He's like, he's standing behind the trainer. 3.
Had a big old sign.
Connor Stallions peek out of nowhere, trying to see what's going on.
Connor Stallions was the trainer.
Oh God! Y'all gotta be laughing, but yeah, man. But we were able to run the ball. I really thought that this game we were going to win this game by passing, but 500 yards total offense, and the way we ran the ball, and Cam Miller, man. We said it. I think somebody said it that we were gonna see Jan Miller.
Dan, I believe.
It was who was it? Dan. It was one of y'all that said we were gonna see Jan Miller. And doggone, you were right. And man, I think that adds another element, man, that you have to account for, because we don't have another back on the roster like Jan Miller. And what I mean by that is how fast he is. Just his explosion. Dude can pick him up, put him down. So to see him and to add something that somebody else had to prepare for, that's the thing of beauty though. But all overall though, man, I like the way we're trending. And unfortunately, we don't control our own destiny. But college football, team's gonna lose in front of us. I mean, it's just a matter of time, because once that pressure starts building up on you, your undefeated team start aiming at you harder. Like Washington still had to play a couple of teams. Who else? Oregon goes to USC. Everybody in front of us. Michigan goes to Penn State this weekend. And
their season starts this weekend.
Yeah, and them Dogs got to see us, Ty.
Dogs got a sneaky one versus Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah. So unfortunately, it's a night game. It should have been a 3:30 CBS game.
Hey, we want Georgia to win that one.
Yeah, we want Georgia undefeated till.
We need Georgia to win
and win nicely.
Yeah.
If they could beat down Ole Miss and get that number 1 ranking, and then have us beat them down, that would be just absolutely favorable, Georgia. If you could do
you know what's scary? You know what's scary though, Ty? I feel like Georgia gonna let them boys hang close, and our 24-10 win over Ole Miss compared to hopefully if it's close, a 6-point win or a 3-point win for Georgia at home at night, that might help us the way this committee is being so inconsistent. So
Ours was early. And
yeah.
we have the benefit of developing. So
yes.
Georgia, if they can win big, take that #1 ranking away from Ohio State, and then Alabama beats them, I think that sets Alabama up beautifully. I'm trying to manifest it. I'm trying to manifest it. Right. Blaze he got in trouble for his manifestations of the LSU win. That's why he's not here today.
Florida State is on the clock. They may go down this weekend to Miami. Circle that one.
I have no faith.
I'm telling you, they play Florida State at a different level, man. Miami plays Florida State.
Dan and Ty, nah.
I don't see it. I don't see it. That boy is.
I wish you were right.
That's a tricky game. Van Dyke in a rivalry game. I'm telling y'all see Miami at their best, and I've seen it over the years. That's one you can't. All right.
Is Miami at home?
No, they're going to dope, which means that they're playing with house money. They're going to be loose.
Wait, Miami
at home. Miami at home is a home game for everybody else. They got about 23 people in the stands.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
that's not saying nothing. Them boys play on the road every week.
My goodness.
Man.
Ty, get us back on track. Get us back on track about this Alabama LSU recap.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to take long because this is fairly cut and dry. We talked about LSU didn't have a defense. We knew this. Now, that being said, what did they do? Let's talk about that. They backed off their coverage tremendously, right? They showed respect to Alabama's deep ball game. And what's scary to me about this Alabama wide receiver core is they still got open. Right? Like they were still getting the ability for some of those deep shots. It's just the timing was a little bit off, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. And Milroe, I think, answered so many questions to people who probably should have seen his development this year before this game, but still chose to hold out. And what I mean when I say that is everybody wanted to know what's going to happen if they couldn't hit the deep shot. All these naysayers that we've had comments, right? What happens if he's not hitting the deep shot? Well, the deep shot wasn't clicking at its normal rate this weekend because LSU backed it off. He had his best game to date, in my opinion. What he was able to do in terms of commanding this offense, and Tommy Rees as well. Matt, you've talked about the development of Tommy Rees, and one thing I've continued to try and point out to people, he's 4 years older than myself. I'm 28 years old. We could have been at high school at the same time. This is a young dude leading the best team in the nation in terms of talent, in terms of expectations. That's something that's completely different, and he's having to learn the Alabama system, and it's starting to show how effective it's going to be. And some of these formations that we've seen the past 2 weeks are some of the things we were highlighting over the summer whenever everybody on this panel would say, hey, if you're interested in some of the nuances, look at what we've done in the past and then go watch the Notre Dame Clemson game and think about how that can be combined. And we're seeing some of that with this pre-snap motion. Alabama's rush attack was fantastic. These wide receivers are getting open, gaining separation at levels that are really, really good to see. And then we look forward with the way that Alabama's offense is clicking right now. It's trending up at the perfect time. We always talk about if you want to start fast, you better end quickly. The committee has in the past been favorable to teams that have lost early in the year and continued to ramp up. Alabama personifies that this year. The offense is, the past 2 games, I think they have been so much better. And guys, this Alabama team held LSU to 28. LSU. That's the #1 offense in the nation. And people can say, oh, well, what about Oregon? LSU has played better quality defenses and put up comparable numbers, better yards per attempt, all of that. That offense is spectacular. Jaden Daniels will be in New York for a reason because he's that good. And this Alabama defense held them to 28. And people can say, oh, but he got injured. Absent a missed tackle, which, was a hair away from an interception, they would have had 21 points. Yep. Because they wouldn't have gotten the score before halftime. Now, we can't take that away, but nor can we add more points for LSU. Alabama's defense is as good as advertised, and the offense is getting better, and it could not be coming at a better time, and I could not be more excited about it.
Quick question. Alabama playing Oregon right now. What's that game look like to y'all?
Fun, but I take Alabama.
Dude,
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Hey,
I take
no,
Alabama.
it's a different game. Bo Nix doesn't come and do that against Alabama. You don't see Bo Nix getting that type of time. That type. I don't see their receivers getting that type of separation from Kool-Aid Terrion. Trey Amos snapping right now, like bro.
Troy Franklin, a bad boy, but let me tell you, Kyrie Jackson got the guy out Jermaine Burton. That's it, bud. And we know that dude can't guard no takeoff route. He cannot guard go routes. I'm sorry. You just throw it up on him, man. The receiver gonna get it.
Yep.
Why that look, Lucian?
Listen. No. It's it's such an even embarrassment to you even look at the lines. And our line's abysmal, right? Has been abysmal to our standards. And it's still better than what they got out there out west. So you think I'll put our true freshmen 5 stars up against their O-line, and I think we still come away with 3.5 sacks at least. Like that's just flat out.
Y'all think we beat them by what? 14 plus?
Yeah,
17 minimum. 17 minimum.
It's gonna be a 38, 13, 14 type of game.
I'm thinking like a 52, 13 type.
Yeah, man.
Bo Nix giving us 2 picks, baby. He giving us 2.
That's the only way.
He is giving 2 picks. Hey, but that's still that Dan Lanning though.
Yeah. And another thing,
what safety? What safety they gonna have over top? I mean, they don't have a solid secondary, guys. They benefit in the pack. They look good in the pack, but like you said earlier, Chris, that it's just one of them things, man. You really look at the talent that they're playing against. They don't go against a team with 3 or 4 options at wide receiver over there.
Dude. Kyrie's like the best.
They did. They went up against Washington, and we saw Washington hang up a bunch of points on them. Now, granted, Michael Penix hangs a bunch of points on anybody. Now, here's the thing.
Well, not everybody.
I mean, but they have the ability to, is my point, right? Like this has been an inconsistent year, but we know what that looks like when they play well. But no, I'd take Alabama in that matchup.
Cool. Lucian, you got anything you want to say about the Alabama LSU recap? Round us out.
I do. So I said earlier in the year on Twitter that Tommy Rees, I was a huge fan of the hire because I heard something when Saban first had his initial press conference about Tommy Rees. Nick Saban said, I talked to Tommy for a long time. If you know anything about Nick Saban doesn't talk to anybody for any extended period amounts of times. So the fact that he sat down and actually had a conversation with this man for an extended period amount of time, that told me something. And this is going to maybe hit Alabama fans in a different way, but I'm going to have to go ahead and say it. I feel like that a good majority of Alabama Nation has lost sight of what the process truly is. I feel like Alabama Nation has been just so, I don't want to say spoiled, just so gifted in the fact that we've had these just amazing combinations. Because I don't want to single anybody out because they've been amazing combinations of just players that have just ended up doing spectacular things. Now, in this LSU game specifically, Alabama was the underdog by everybody in the nation. Everyone's like, well, LSU's got Jaden Daniels. He's the Heisman frontrunner.
I heard it.
But people forgot one thing. Nick Saban in the process. And I feel like that. Oh, Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, go on, Jalen.
Yeah, go ahead, Jalen. Go ahead and talk your stuff.
Go on, Jalen.
But I feel like this whole season that Alabama Nation has been so critical about our offense. And I'm going to say something right here. That originally, when this magnitude of an establishment got built, we didn't have the Lamborghinis. We didn't have the BMWs. We didn't have the drivers to do them cars at the beginning. It was about the process. It was about the hard work. It was about the grind. And our fan base as a nation has gotten away from the fact that we grind as Alabama. We hurt people as Alabama. We ain't pretty at Alabama. And I feel like the true Bama standard, and this is all the pun intended of this network right here, that we need to really hit that factory reset button like Nick Saban did earlier this season and bringing back Kevin Steele and Tommy Reese to bring back the joyless murder ball that was instilled the last few games on the top seeded offenses like LSU, the top seeded one, the 13th one, the 18th one, the 21st one, and the 12th seeded one. 19 points a game, our defense has surrendered. I do believe that's joyless murder ball. And as our offense, everyone's like, well, we're not scoring touchdowns. Everybody wants to come at Jalen's neck because he didn't throw no passes. Well, guess what? We still won the damn game. And the fact that he didn't throw and we did run for all those yards should just scare the nation. Because if Jalen gets off with his arm and he got 156 with his legs, and I'm pretty sure he scored 4 tutties. Did he score 4? He scored 4 with his legs.
He still went for 200 with his arm, bro.
So guess what? When it comes down to everybody in the college football nation playoff picking the rankings, y'all better do your stat work. Y'all better do your homework. Because Bama wins out, we get in the playoffs, every team in the nation better be scared. Because Nick Saban's on the hunt for another one.
Ooh, mic drop. Speaking on the hunt, speaking of Milroe in his bag, that boy is good. Milroe, I'm going to ask it in 2 parts. Has Milroe found his identity? And let me know your Heisman odds. And I'll start with Ty Hayes.
Look, if he continues progressing at the way he has all season, and if Alabama wins out, beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, he's going to New York. His resume is going to be unbelievably impressive. He'll have gone toe-to-toe with Jaden Daniels, have come out on top. Then he will have beaten Georgia. He will have beaten 4 ranked teams. He'll have beaten 3 teams inside the top 15. I mean, I don't know what more you'd need to ask from a resume perspective. Now, it's going to be an unbelievable Heisman year in terms of what Michael Penix does. There's been a lot of people playing great football this year, and we as college football fans are blessed. But you bet your bottom dollar, he deserves to be in New York if he continues the way he has. I think, in my opinion, guys, name me a quarterback that has been as clutch as Jalen Milroe this year while still developing so much week to week. And still we sit here and he has got so much left in terms of his development. That's what makes Jalen Milroe terrifying for opposing teams, because people are starting to get it now. He's just scratching the surface. And next year, oh my goodness. It's going to be
Ty, he's doing that against top-seeded defenses too.
Yep.
Not these Pac-10 defenses or these Big Ten defenses that don't exist in the ranking of 150. So the fact that he's doing that against actual NFL talent.
Smoot.
And to even to that point, it's like, look at the coordinators he's going up against, man. These are not B-list coordinators. These are not C-list head coaches. These are not teams like Texas A&M. They filled a top 5 ranked recruiting class on the field. You know, we was bragging about ours being the number 1. I think theirs was number 5 with Evan Stewart and all those guys on the field together. Their highest ranked defensive line prospector class. All 3 starters across the front were top 10 guys in their recruiting class. Like this guy, like I said from the jump, you don't see progression and growth like that in season, like we were seeing from Jalen Milroe from Texas to having to miss a game at USF. And then that's another thing. This guy was shortchanged the game, a whole game, maybe you get 30, 40 more reps in that game to progress. And he wasn't afforded that opportunity, but to turn around and show up against Ole Miss, to go against Texas A&M, go on the road against Ole Miss, both of those teams in those type of environments, and to perform like he did, come back and play against a stingy Arkansas team who isn't very good, but they always play us tough. Then to come out of that game, handle yourself against Tennessee, handle yourself against LSU, two highly rated top teams that were, trending upward in all, SEC, national media, whatever you want to look at. Like, this guy definitely should be in the conversation. The question of the matter is, like you were saying, Ty, we're just now seeing him understand. I think Jalen Milroe's at a point now, he's understanding what he's capable of when he just relies on the natural ability. The thing that he wants to be lies in him relying on his natural ability, and that's to create with his legs. He wants to be a great passer. He wants to get guys involved. Well, you do that by making it known that don't forget about these legs early. And you saw how that happened with LSU. And early prediction, I think that plays heavy into the rest of the type of defenses we're going to see, because we're not going to see another athletic defense the rest of this season out. Auburn may present the biggest challenge until we get to the SEC championship game against Georgia, if they make it. But we won't see another athletic defense. So I think this passing game is just they're going to make the next bound or leap as far as progressing. So I'm excited for Milroe, man. I think he's definitely he continues to win and just handle business. He's going to keep himself in that conversation.
Chris,
let me ask y'all this. When was the last time you seen a quarterback that was that fast and that powerful with those type of moves? Like
Lamar?
Like, did you see? But he wasn't that powerful.
Vince?
Not like that.
No. There hasn't been a quarterback with that combination of skills.
Power and speed. The dude is like Cam Akers. Dan, that's what you would have seen if Cam Akers would have played quarterback in college.
Oh no,
that's what you would have seen.
Yeah.
If Cam Akers is,
I don't know.
Jalen
Lamar got some highlights running folks too, man. Lamar got some.
But I mean, y'all know how strong Milroe is, though.
Yeah.
Power.
Milroe just big, though. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Dude is a specimen with that type of power and speed and agility. Like, who was like Jalen Hurts wasn't that fast, not as fast as Milroe. When was the last time has college football seen a guy? And I'm not talking about nothing about arm talent. This is strictly
Anthony
running.
Richardson was just an incredible, but he wasn't as strong.
Hey,
he wasn't
Dennis Dixon for Oregon. Dennis Dixon.
Oh yeah, but he wasn't that big though. That's what I'm saying. He was more scatty.
That's what I'm saying. You really got to rack your mind. Tommy Frazier.
No,
Chris.
That's
Anthony Richardson ran a 4.43.
Right, but Milroe's gonna run a 4.3. He's gonna crush it.
But the accuracy.
Well, no, he specifically said no throwing.
Let's split
that. Fast. Yeah, because Richardson was a big bowling ball that could run, but Milroe put that foot in the ground can make you miss too.
Oh my God!
I agree with you, Lucian. His arm is way further ahead than where Anthony Richardson was in their same development. Like he's way further.
That's why everyone's sleeping on him.
Would you say Tommy Frazier? Ty? Tommy Frazier?
Oh,
that's about the closest you're going to get.
Really?
No, but as far as athletically and throw, yeah.
Tommy Frazier.
I mean, this is what.
My bad, Milroe.
Hey, yeah, I don't doubt it. But this is what because Lucian, I think you make a great point. When we talk about the whole package, this is what makes Milroe so dangerous. He is further ahead than where Anthony Richardson was at the same point in their career, and I would argue quite a bit further ahead. Like it's not. He's quite a bit further ahead. That dude was just a first rounder, and Jalen Milroe's further ahead.
Right.
Do with that what you will.
Hey, Ty, you remember when I said it? I said if Milroe mess around and wins the Heisman, we might not see Milroe next year. And like, is that type of society or is that type of NFL now, man?
If he gets to New York, it's over with. If he gets to New York, if he beats Georgia, goes in there and beats Georgia like Bryce did, it's over with.
What you mean if? He gonna beat Georgia. We gonna beat Georgia.
I'm trying to stay politically correct on this Alabama Standard Network.
well, politically correct is saying we're gonna win. That's it. This is Alabama Network.
Let them naysayers know. We're going to win.
Man, this team has developed, guys, and Milroe is really the leading charge in that development. If you look at his progression, every little positive step he took forward, you saw it affect everything around him. The running backs, how they protected him in the pocket and pass pro, the offensive line, how they adjusted, and how Caden Proctor has developed based off of Milroe's growth. Like Milroe and his legs made this offensive line look like that 2012, 2013, like that stretch of offensive line where it didn't matter who we put back there, we was gonna see production in the run game. That's what he made this offensive line look like this past weekend. I'm excited, man. I hope this kid really gets a fair shake at that Heisman talk, at that Heisman look.
May I come in here real fast? Because there's a comment, 2 comments I want to hit. First, Don J says, doesn't Jalen Milroe remind y'all of Cam Newton? I honestly, I'm going to say not particularly. No, he to me is a one of one, in my opinion. He is Jalen Milroe. Like, he is
over quarterback to Bama.
Like, Lucian, easy.
Like Cam might have been the big. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ty.
No. It's just Cam is just so physical and huge. I mean, that guy is incredible. But Jalen Milroe is a little bit different in terms of his blend of speed, physicality, power. It's its own thing. But I did want to just quickly hit. Terry Love says not true. AR-15 had no talent to show his development. Stop being a homer. The number 1 wide receiver right now at Georgia is the same number 1 wide receiver they had in 2022. And Anthony Richardson had a 58% completion percentage while only having 17 sacks on the year. Jalen Milroe's already up over 30 sacks on the year, had a complete overhaul in terms of offensive coordinator, all that, which I know a lot is happening at Florida. But, I mean, it's not really comparable, and it's not being a homer. It's just he is further ahead.
I agree. Dan, what are your thoughts about Milroe's Heisman candidacy and him just finding his identity?
Yeah, it's all. Yes, he has found his identity, but as far as the Heisman, it's all in front of him. Everything is ahead of him. His campaign has already started. He's definitely going to have to go in and show something in the SEC championship game against Georgia. Then it's still a lot. It's too much in front of him now. But being real, but what us Bama fans fail to appreciate, we say it, but we fail to appreciate is his growth from week 1 to week 10. That's what's been so impressive. The fact that him going from being benched to now having a realistic shot to be in New York at this point, after the way people cast him away, cast him aside, he's done. We're not gonna win with him. We're gonna be 8-4 with this guy. It's over. He alone on the offensive side of the ball has put us on his back and put us in this situation.
I agree. And speaking of his growth, the guy who's helped make him so much better as a quarterback, Tommy Rees, guys, I got to give that guy some credit. Tommy Rees, a lot of people are saying, is he going to be able to keep it up? I believe Tommy Rees is going to be able to keep it up because it's going to be a lot. I've been saying it all year. I believe Saban and Reese have been saving these creative plays for the LSU game. But now teams don't know how to defend them. If you try to stop the run, now we can throw it on you. Now, if you try to stop the pass, we can run it on you. So now I think that's just going to make the job a lot easier or a lot more. I think Tommy Rees is going to get more comfortable, in his role as the OC. And I think he can continue to go, continue to improve and move forward and help with Jalen Milroe's growth. So, Ty, what are your thoughts about Tommy Rees? Can he keep it up?
Absolutely. Look, guys, I've said all year long, I bring up his age every week for a reason, to continually paint the picture. He's young, but Saban put faith in him for a reason. Saban didn't go out and get someone that young for no reason. This guy is creative. What he was doing at Notre Dame, I thought was compelling. And now you have Notre Dame people looking around being like, oh, maybe, no, for real. They're looking around like, oh, maybe he wasn't the issue. So listen, but you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about, first off, we have a super chat to hit. Don J says, and I know it's not Bama related, but what do y'all think of Caleb Williams crying and talking about cuddling with his dog? And I didn't see the comment about the dog in TV, but I did see the crying. And listen, watching a Lincoln Riley defense would make me cry too. So I'm right there with you, pal. And I don't play for him. I'm not the one winning Lincoln Riley these games, but if I had that defense, I'd be in tears too. You bet your bottom dollar about that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Go ahead, Chris.
Let me interject. I'm seeing this in the chat. This what's his name? This Tari Love guy. Man, we need to bring him on camera, man. I mean, everything he's saying, I don't know, but we might need to get dude on camera, man. And since he has so much to say, let's bring him on, man. Justin, make something happen, Justin. Let's bring this guy on.
Oh, somebody got Chris a little tight. Let me see what he said, because when I seen what I seen him saying earlier, that's why we gotta next. Anyways,
gotta get folks on camera, man. Just
hold on.
Let's go toe to toe, mono and mono. You're not gonna.
We got to talk about Kentucky, gentlemen. We got a game this weekend. We got to talk about
Kentucky.
And I think there's going to be a lot of is it a trap game, right? Is it a trap game? That's going to be a national narrative. I'm here to rip the Band-Aid off. Hell no. Hell no. I'm going to tell you exactly why, guys. Ray Davis is a hell of a player. Hey, first off, stopping him is going to be a challenge. He is one of the better running backs in the nation, in my opinion. They present a great rushing attack. The problem, it's more of a traditional rushing attack, which is very successful. I've said this multiple times. I just don't think you're going to beat Alabama by running at them, especially not with how the offense is playing right now. That's just, I don't see that working. Now, Leary was a really talented quarterback, and he still is. That sounded really bad. He's a talented quarterback, but this year has not been great. I think Alabama wins this and wins pretty handily. I'm excited about this weekend. Ray Davis, hell of a player. Stopping him, that's going to be a challenge. They're going to get him involved, but Alabama's defensive front is great. The secondary is fantastic. Linebackers have been playing awesome, and they don't present enough threats outside of Ray Davis, in my opinion. They have Barry and Brown, but they can't get him the ball consistently, and at that point, it's just I don't know. Alabama's offense is trending up. The defense is good. I think they roll Kentucky. But let's hit it to Lucian. What are you thinking, man?
I'm going to loop a little bit of the last topic into this one, which is going to lead into why we're going to roll big in this game. Tommy Reese, or as I like to call him, Tommy the Mad Hatter Reese, got deep in his bag. And I don't even think that's the deepest part of the bag, because there's a position group that hasn't even been touched yet, and that's our tight ends. And he has yet to let them loose. So the fact that Kentucky, who rushes the ball, between the tackles, thinks they're going to do something with our tackles. And I'm going to be a firm one to stand behind Ty, if not in front of Ty, and say that that's not going to happen. I think this week is going to be the first week where we actually see Kevin Steele and Tommy Reese go deep until their rotational bag. I feel like this might be the week where we might actually see some freshmen stud out. Because I feel that they're going to run the ball at us, and that's cool. But we got linebackers for days. And when I say days, we got Justin Jefferson and Sean Murphy just waiting to hit you. And I'm not even going to bring up Kendrick Blackshire, who that dude's already been chomping at the bit every game to get at somebody. So, and those aren't even our best three linebackers. So the fact that we still have Tresman Marshall, Deontay Lawson, and my favorite, Jahad Campbell, on the defensive side. And now as you flip it over to the offensive side of the game, you got Jaden Roberts and Tyler Booker, who are playing like straight mauling polar bear maniacs right now.
Damn.
The best guard tandem in college.
Exactly. It's the best guard tandem in college probably since the early 2000s. Let's be real about it. Our running game is going to just take off. But in that happening, Jermaine Burton, Isaiah Bond, Kobe Prentice, and hold on now. Malik Benson are going to do their thing.
Nice.
At the same time, you are about to see my favorite player, the X Factor, Kendrick the Claw Law, do his thing in open space. Because I'm going to tell you something. You ain't tackling him with the linebacker because he's stronger. And Tommy Reese is so deep in his bag that he hasn't even began to implement all the exciting things. And I think he's saving it. And like they alluded to earlier, he was saving it for LSU. He wasn't saving it for LSU. He knows one man in this nation knows him or thinks he knows him better than anybody else. And that's Kirby Smart. Tommy Reese is saving the wagon. This is why everyone's waiting to see Justice Haynes. Everyone's waiting to see Amari Niblack. Everybody's waiting to see Dupree. Everybody's waiting to see Kendrick Law. It's going to slowly trickle out these next couple weeks. And then when we go to Atlanta, when Kirby thinks, oh, well, Nick Saban's going to do what Nick Saban's been doing, Nick Saban's been better. Because you know what? That's the GOAT. And everybody needs to remember, you trust the process every damn time. He ain't let us down. So I don't know why Alabama Nation's doubting it. Saban's got 1 to 6 things up his sleeves at all times. Y'all not remember the onside kick he just did out of like nowhere? Trust me when I say this. Bama got this. Saban got us.
Super chat.
Smook, hit this super chat. I just woke him up. Like, jeez.
Y'all turned me into Chris James over here, goddamn. What aspect of the team do you think needs the most improvement? And do you think we match up well with Georgia? UGA worries me. Adam Lamparello with the $10 super chat.
Let me answer that.
Go ahead, man.
Let me answer that. Hey, well, aspect of the team that needs most improvement. It's still the left tackle. Just it's really not. It's really not.
Look at that.
Go ahead. All right. I would say like Proctor continue to develop in pass pro. That's it, because I mean everywhere else it's pretty much. But I would say that area right there probably needs the most improvement, because we're airtight, you know, in the secondary, at linebacker, on the D line, and receiver, running back. I would say probably just a position, left tackle, and it's gotten better. And I think we match up with Georgia well, because what Georgia likes to do best is what we are best at. Georgia likes to be physical with you. And with the way our D-line has been playing, if Georgia can't run the ball, we make them one-dimensional and Beck has to throw it 35 times, sit up there in the pocket. He might not last, man.
Pick.
He seriously might not last. I mean, we match up well, but the thing about it, what we can't do, we can't have penalties, and we can't turn the ball over. We play a clean game. We kicking their teeth in. Like 2021.
Dan?
2 things that, you know, we'll have to show up against Georgia. And, you know, that what will be critical in the game. And that's 2 seniors, Tresman Marshall and Jalen Key, in pass coverage. Because Georgia's going to utilize the tight ends and the little drag routes. And those they're going to attack.
Yep.
Now, I don't like to go over my time. Go ahead.
Oh,
I mean, to me, the only thing about Georgia is that they do present the ability to be either pass or run. They are equipped offensively just like we are. I think the difference is the quarterback situation. In that game, it'll be another opportunity for Jalen Milroe to be the difference as far as creating and taking advantage of those opportunities, because I think both defenses present the similar type of matchup. I still think Georgia's secondary hasn't truly been tested, and Missouri, they did a lot of good things against Georgia this last game. Brody did not have a lot of time, but he did a lot with a little bit of time. And I think we do have a better offensive line than Missouri, and present a better, more that they had balance. Missouri actually was having effectiveness. They were more effective in the run game, in interior run game, and breaking out, bouncing outside than they were in the pass game. So it's going to be interesting. So I like the way it's trending for us. And I think our balance is just Milroe is the X factor when you talk about the matchup against Georgia. I don't think Carson Beck presents the same type of scrambling ability and elusiveness that a lot of the quarterbacks we've seen previously do. Even though he is sneaky athletic, Carson Beck is a probably, I want to say top 5 quarterbacks right now. As far as production, his numbers are quiet and sneaky, but he's really doing his thing. So I like the matchup.
True. I'm gonna talk about this Kentucky being a trap game, and I'm gonna go back to my initial point when the college football rankings just came out. Alabama being at 8 and them having such a resume and winning, the SEC West is still on the line. We got to beat Kentucky in order to kind of solidify it for us to win. So I think these guys are going to be motivated. Like I said earlier, like MJ said, I took that personally. I think these guys, they've been in the playoff for the past, since after the Texas game, So I think these guys are going to be motivated. And I think to Lushan's point, we're going to get deep in the rotation. We're going to get some guys, once we control the game, we're going to get some guys some valuable playing time. And, we're going to be looking to, venge, the disrespect, take it out against these Kentucky Wildcats. And it's a noon kickoff, but I think Coach Saban's got these guys right where he wants them mentally and psychologically for them to be successful. And before I give it to you, Smoot, my player of the game, I'm going to say, I'm going to go Kendrick Law. I think Kendrick Law take a kickoff back. I think he's going to break one of them bad boys in Lexington.
And because you said that and kind of like took what I was alluding to, this afternoon game, I think this is one of those games where the special teams make like a lot of spark plays, early plays that kind of just open it up and don't allow the offense or defense to be asleep. You get what I'm saying? This is one of those games. It's got that type of feel because we see Kool-Aid was a lot more decisive on the punt return with fielding the punts. I think he only had 2 opportunities to field punts last game, maybe 3. I can't remember. But this is one of those games that built up for like short starting field position for the offense, which is why I believe, and we had a little conversation with the over-under with the touchdown passes. This is why I believe this is going to be a game, like Lucian alluded to after our conversation, still in my notes and stuff. But this is going to be a big game for the tight ends, man. I think they're really going to snap. Like we're going to see CJ Dupree, Amari Knee-Black, Danny Lewis is probably going to have a reception. I think Robbie Ouse maybe get a carry out the backfield. It's going to be something neat coming out against this Kentucky team, but definitely the special teams is going to lead. And player of the game, I'm going to go with I'm really trending towards Amari Knee-Black right now. I feel like just that pass that Milroe missed against LSU, I think that's going to be used a lot more, that type of concept to get him on the perimeter one-on-one with a safety or linebacker out to the in between the hashes. Outside the hashes. I think that's going to be utilized this game too. So I'm going to go with Amari Knee-Black, and Trez Marshall is a big game for him. If Lawson is hurt, that means we're going to see the rotation of Campbell. Blackshire, Campbell, and Marshall. Marshall, this is a game for him with Ray Davis and that running attack at Kentucky. So that's my predictions. We win big by 18.
Let me take this right here. Adam says, why do teams stay in the shotgun on 4th and short? It makes no sense to me. Look, there are very few applications, but by and large, Adam, it's because they hate happiness. It's because sadness is in, and that's what it is. They hate happiness. They hate joy. They want us all to be miserable. I can't tell you how many tweets I've sent, just irate whenever teams go on 4th and 1 from the shotgun. Hell, Josh Heupel a few weeks ago decided that he had a 6'4" quarterback, and when it was 4th and inches, it made more sense to attempt to make it easier to get 6 inches by having to get 15 feet and 6 inches, which, listen, I'm no mathematician, but that didn't make much sense to me. Anyways, my player of the game, offense, Coach Smook hit the nail on the head. I think Amari Knee-Black is a player to watch. I've been on the Amari Knee-Black train all year since the offseason. I'm not hopping off now. And in terms of defense, once again, I've been on the train all year. I'm not hopping off Caleb Downs. His development this year has been sensational. His open field tackling is awesome to see for a true freshman. His decisiveness as a true freshman, I mean, he is so ahead of schedule. Alabama fans, we are so lucky that he is on this team because he is going to be a special player.
I agree. Chris?
My players of the game, I expect Jalen Milroe to keep rolling in his Heisman campaign. I expect him to have a big game with both his arm and legs. I think Jace McClellan is going to eat. I think we're going to open some holes. And this is the game you can see somebody probably like a Kobe Prentice, somebody else get off, because I believe that so much attention is going to be paid to Bun and Burton. This is a good spot for Kobe Prentice to get off. Defensively, I'm saying that, calling it now, Campbell's going to have double-digit tackles, Jahad Campbell, because they like to run it, and he's gonna wreak havoc, man. Just watch. If you want to see a thing of beauty, you want to see a linebacker clinic, watch Jahad Campbell, especially the fact that he's probably got to play the whole game now that Lawson's out. I wouldn't be surprised if you look at the stat sheet. 17 tackles, 15 tackles. It's going to be something. It's going to be something somewhere along those lines right there.
$2 super chat. You guys think we'll see a little Keon Keelan?
Nope.
Yeah,
I think Chattanooga probably, but they're saving him the next year. I think you might see him next game. We got too many other guys in the rotation that we have to get up.
Robinson. Yeah.
Quandarius Robinson, guys like that you'll see a lot of them this game. But you probably won't see until Chattanooga, if you do see them.
All those three are going to be good.
Yeah. They're going to be so good, dude.
Rousseau,
Pierre,
Keeley are going.
None of them have played this
year.
Stupid.
That's stupid. All redshirt freshmen next year. That's dumb.
Dan, your thoughts about the game?
You on mute, dude.
Yeah, I have no words. Bama's gonna roll big in this one, so I might as well get to my stars of the game. It's gonna be the usual suspects. It's gonna be between one of Jalen Milroe, Jace McClellan, or Roydale Williams. It's gonna be one of the three. So I'm gonna go with Jalen Milroe. He's been carrying us this far. He's gonna keep carrying us. Defensive side of the ball, being that the fact that we're gonna stuff the run. So, it's going to be a lot of opportunities for our main guy, which is Caleb Downs.
I like it. I like it. Well, it's about that time, guys. Lushawn, did we get your... Oh, it is that time. Yes. Like I said.
Where's Smoot? Hurry back, Smoot.
I guess anybody want to go first or not? Because I go first when it comes to the OnlyFans. But I'll start it off. Hit me up on my OnlyFans this week. Knocking that kitty out the game. Promo code Dallas Turner. That's the name of my OnlyFans this week. Chris?
Now go to Lucia and come back to me.
Lucia?
All right. My prediction is a Todd roll big, which rolls into my OnlyFans presentation for tonight. So, in honor of the Wildcat, I'm gonna reinforce an old school opinion. You can find me only on Saturday night. My Dirk Diggler slaying kitty promo code till their face hits the mats.
Chris?
Well, y'all look me up on social media on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr., on Twitter at Coach Chris James, on Instagram at CKJ Sr. And for this week, you can type in my promo code and tame that kitty. since we're taming cats this weekend, we're gonna tame and finesse that kitty this week.
Make that kitty roar.
Make that kitty purr. Make it purr.
Mr. Ty Hayes. I mean, y'all are our top best.
See, this is unfortunate because I was gonna go with Tame the Kitty, so now I gotta completely go on the fly. So
yeah,
I
how's that
apologize.
feel?
I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. This is about to be unhinged. And since it's Kentucky week and Shady Mile's a proud sponsor of the channel, Shady Mile, you do great stuff. But this week, we're gonna do something a little bit different. We've had a lot of variations of the OnlyFans channel this year, guys, and I think this time it's time to do something a little bit classy, a little bit full length. And we had the Tigers last week. We have the Tigers this week. So you can catch me on OnlyFans making that kitty purr. #menage-a-trois, and I'll be there all weekend long. We have kitties left, right, and center, and we're making it happen all weekend long. Find me over there.
I love it. Ty Hayes. Man.
I wasn't prepared. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot about the OnlyFans thing. But you can find me on Twitter, at Final Whistle Dan. You can catch me on Facebook, Dan James IV. But this week, it was Kentucky. Kentucky. Yeah, so what's the color? Blue. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna roll the Kentucky blue ball.
And drink some bourbon. Shouts out to Shady Miles.
Shady Miles.
Shady Mile will help with the blue ball.
And listen, folks, don't forget, continue to stay tuned in here on the Bama Standard. We got She's show tomorrow night.
We might have a special guest right here.
Special guest is Dan, the star of the show. Dan James will be on the show. That's tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And the GOAT, the legend himself, George T's Take at 8:15 p.m. Central. Guys, this is what we do here at the Bama Standard. This has been another great episode of the Final Whistle. And we like to end on those two words. Roll Tide, baby.
Roll
Tide.
Roll Tide.